Hi there, I'm Lori Jinkins. I represent the 27th Legislative District, which is Northeast Tacoma, North Tacoma, the downtown, the Hilltop, the East Side, and the whole west end of Tacoma. And actually, I want to introduce everybody to George Washington here. Right now, I'm taping this from the Capitol building itself, and what we're all told is that if you rub George Washington's nose during legislative session, that will bring you good luck. And you can see that his nose is a lot more gold than the rest of him from a lot of people coming by and rubbing his nose. So I would invite all of my constituents to come down, and it can't hurt, it sure can't hurt to rub George Washington's nose.
Yesterday was Policy Committee cutoff. What does that mean, and what's the next phase of the legislative session?
It's actually really moving fast. Most bills, when they're introduced, go to a policy committee. For example, I sit on the healthcare committee, I sit on the environment committee, are two that I sit on. And so bills come through there, and that's, as I said, considered a policy committee. And if a bill is going to continue to move through the legislature, it needed to be out by Thursday. In fact, in the Healthcare Committee, I think we moved over 30 bills in the last few days. So then after that, a number of bills that have a fiscal impact will move on to fiscal committees, and those have to all be out of committee within the next few days for them to move on. So one of the kind of interesting things about working in the legislature is that the way the whole system is set up is actually to have very few bills make it through the whole process, not to have a lot of them. And that's what you see with these cutoffs. I'm very happy to say that two of my bills already have moved out, have been on the House floor, have been voted off of the House floor, which means they're on their way to the Senate. And the Senate will start hearing them in the next couple weeks, and hopefully they'll eventually pass out of the Senate and go on to the governor's desk for approval.
You are supporting a bill that would close some tax exemptions currently on the books in order to redirect some of that money to save the basic health plan. Can you talk about that?
Yeah. So the basic health plan really provides some subsidized health insurance for thousands and thousands of people in the state. And not even everyone who wants to use the basic health plan can get on it now, because there's just not enough money to fully fund it. Still, we've been able to provide this for a lot of people, a lot of families. With the budget challenges that we've got in the next 2 years, we're really at risk of losing the whole basic health plan and having thousands of families without health care. So I signed on to a bill that would eliminate some tax exemptions that we have. I actually brought with me today, this is a book just of tax exemptions here in Washington State, and there are literally hundreds and hundreds of them. Now, not all tax exemptions are bad. I think most tax exemptions are put in place because there's a theory that they are going to help create jobs. And if a tax exemption does create jobs, then great. We should probably keep it. Jobs are one of the most important things we're trying to do down here this year, is to create them. But if you've got exemptions that really just aren't making sense, aren't creating jobs, aren't doing what they're supposed to do, or are just tax breaks for some special group or company, if we close those, we can actually gain some revenue and maybe keep the basic health plan. So this bill actually proposes closing a few tax exemptions. One is for cosmetic surgery. Another tax exemption is for private jet owners. And frankly, if you can own your own jet, then you probably don't need a tax exemption. So it's closing some of those loopholes that really don't make a lot of sense, and then taking the money that's saved from that and putting it toward the basic health plan so more people will be able to have access to health care.
And what's the status of the state operating budget?
Today, on the floor of the House, we just passed the supplemental budget. I've worked in state government for a number of years before I came down here, so all of these things make a lot of sense to me, but I think to the regular person they don't. Right now, we're in what's known as the 2009 to 2011 biennium. So the budget that was passed in 2009 goes to June of 2011, so this June. What happens is every year you have changes in the budget, changes in assumptions about how many people we will have in the prison system, how many people we will have on Medicaid, and so you have to adjust your budget, and that's what a supplemental budget is. Because we haven't been bringing in as much revenue during this biennium as we originally projected we would, we've had to make some more serious reductions to our budget. So the supplemental budget that we passed today does that. It makes reductions that I think are really difficult, but they're balanced. and they recognize that we're going to have to make reductions not just in one area or another, but probably across education, across healthcare, across disability services. It probably means everyone is going to feel some amount of the pain, but it positions us better for when we go into our next discussion on budget, which is adopting the big budget for the next 2 years, 2011 to 2013. And that will be even more challenging because we're going to have to find $5 billion of reductions there in order to have a balanced budget.
All right. Well, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you.